Hello, everybody. My name is Casey Lipka. I'm a bassist, singer, and composer, bringing people together to talk about creativity and music. And I'm so excited to welcome Nadav Peled, an Israeli-born guitarist and composer who currently resides in Los Angeles. He is the leader of Anbessa Orchestra, a seven-piece band that draws its inspiration from the diverse musical culture of Ethiopia, combining these unique sounds with the more Western sounds of funk, jazz, R&B, and rock. He's also a sideman and contributes his musical expertise to many projects throughout Los Angeles, some being Ethio Cali, Prince Board, and the Funky Mama All Stars, Will Dog Abers. He is a bit of a musical chameleon. He is also a kind person that you want to be on any project because he brings authenticity, soul, and fun to everything he does. So, Nadav, thank you for being here. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you so much for this lovely introduction. Thank you.
That's all you.
Yeah.
All you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy we're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on in your musical universe right now, given the times?
In the COVID music world. Well, actually, lately I've been teaching quite a bit. I had some cool students come along, and most of them are a little further along in their studies, so it's cool. I like to get in like a little deeper, if we're talking about jazz and or anything else like more advanced concepts, and you can do some cool work. So I'm enjoying that. And the pandemic is because I was very much not a computer person. I mean, it's not like I don't know how to operate a computer, but like I would never record on my computer or anything. Like, I didn't really know how to do it. And it's kind of simple. um, so I started doing that, and I've been doing some remote recordings. And lately, there's even been some actual recordings. I just did a session a couple of weeks ago with a dear friend, Randall Fisher, who is a great saxophone player here in LA. And we did basically his record. It's his first record. He's a pretty young musician, up and coming. He plays with Aloe Black, and I play with him in Ethio Cali. So we did that, and then today we're gonna start a 3-day recording session for a wonderful keyboard player, originally from Ethiopia. Now he lives here. His name is Kibram Brehen, and we're gonna start a 3-day session at a cool studio in Torrance for that. Obviously, social distant masks and everything, but it's cool to see things are coming back a little bit, and even kind of have this pretty steady gig playing outside in Santa Monica on the weekends on Main Street with another dear friend who just moved here from New York. His name is Bill Todd. He's a great saxophone player, and we've got amazing musicians in that band. It's usually this guy Eric England on bass and Anthony Fung on drums, and then those are the regular cats, and then we have a rotating cast if somebody can't do it. So there's actually been things going on. Yeah.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
this is what I love about you, Nadav. You're always doing so many, you have your hand in so many different musical projects. It's so inspiring to me. So inspiring.
Yeah.
I see Raquel here says hello. Thank you for being here, Raquel.
Hello.
For anybody who's here, Nadav, I would love, I mean, I introduced you, but tell people a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Um, all right. So, yeah, I mean, I started playing when I was 11, and I played just kind of classical music at first, or classical guitar. Then I, obviously moved to electric guitar and got into rock and stuff like that, and jazz. And I grew up in Israel at a very young age, like pretty much right a few months after I started playing the guitar. I was like, this is what I want to do in my life. Like, I'm sure of it. which was great because it kind of obliterated any teenage doubts or whatever. It's like, no, this is the way. Music, that's fine. Everything else will work around it. And I knew that I wanted to move to the US. At first I was like, when I heard like about Berkeley College of Music, I was like, oh, that's cool. So you can actually go to college and learn music, and there's so many people. And then I ended up going to study in New York because I was and still is very into like jazz music. So I moved to New York when I was 19, and I studied at the New School for Jazz over there, and got to study with great people, and I met some amazing friends who I'm still, in touch with, and some of them are in my band, Ambessa Orchestra, and and I just I feel like I was really into like pretty much strictly jazz up until I was kind of 21, 22, and then I feel like there's been some kind of shift. I went back to Israel for a little bit, and then I played with this really amazing reggae band over there. The name was Zvulun Dub System. The band isn't really active anymore, but they're really amazing. And the singer of that band is this guy Gili Yalo, who also turned out to be like an amazing friend and a great longtime collaborator. And he was born in Ethiopia and moved to Israel when he was very young. And at a certain point with that band, he started introducing Ethiopian music to play in like a reggae style. And the first tune I heard was like groundbreaking for me, and I had to check it out more and like kind of study more of it, and kind of started exploring. And for some reason, he's kind of really latched on to me, and then opened up this world of more music from different places from Africa, or just kind of allowed me to just love music for what it is, like whatever it is that I like, because up until then I was like, I had this concept that this is what you should listen to, these are the people, and this is the music you should focus on. And it's good to focus on things, especially for some periods of times. But I feel like the moment I started like opening up and allowing myself to just be, in love with music, for whatever it is, whatever element it is, it could be a pop song, or like there's no more guilty pleasures or whatever. I just like a song, so I like a song. Fuck it. And kind of, yeah, I feel like the whole other musical spectrum or my playing like just improved just from that, just from allowing yourself to be honest with yourself. And yeah.
It seems like at a certain point, the veil of judgment was lifted about what is good music or music you should be listening to or should be studying or whatever that judgment was. So you're
Yeah, I'm still very judgmental, but just not about, you know, uh, like I still say I would be like, oh, this is great or this is terrible or whatever. But the spectrum for what is great is broadened, tremendously. So
well, you didn't say you're judgmental, but from my point of view, I see you as someone being very open to so many different kinds of things, which to me is the opposite of judgmental, but whatever. um, yeah, so you talked a little bit about Onbessa Orchestra, which you lead, a seven-piece band. I'm wondering how do you approach composing for that band? What does that
yeah.
look like?
Well, yeah, so Albessa is like my project. It's my band. It's the closest thing to my heart. Um, and just for reference, I guess for people who don't know, we play music that is inspired from Ethiopia, but then again, I mean, we started out just playing like kind of like covers of songs from Ethiopia from the late '60s and '70s, and if people might know, like Mulatu Astatke, who's like a pretty well known figure in that world. So kind of like that style, but then it became something that's very of its own, and I feel like the band has its own kind of sound now, and most of what we play is original, but it's obviously in tune to the sounds of Ethiopian music. And yeah, so we have three horns, just so if we were asking about the composition, so just so people would know the instrumentation, we have two saxophones and a trumpet, guitar, obviously, keyboard, bass, and drums. And usually, what would happen is I would either kind of delve into a certain region of music from Ethiopia and listen to it a lot, and then maybe try to kind of think about some elements that are going on there, and play around with some idea, and then a melody would come along. Or sometimes I would have just a groove happening. For example, we're working on a tune now. It's almost ready. It's the first ever tune that we did remotely. Usually we do everything all analog, by the way. Like we go into the
Mm.
studio and we do tape, and which is cool. But this thing, obviously, now, because, I'm here and they're all in New York, we did it remotely and we're working on it. So that, for example, that was a groove that I had, I don't know, for like 2.5 years. I just had like a guitar thing. I was like, all right, someday I'm going to do something with it. And I was like, all right, well, I got the time now. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and it was actually cool because right now I put it on the computer and I could listen back to it and I could, play around with some ideas, um, and sometimes I have a clearer idea of like voicings and whatever, and sometimes I'll be like, oh, let me try this thing, let me try to put everybody in fifths and see if that works, and like all the horn players, and um for example, like a little nice tidbit was like that in the record, the second record that we put out, there's a song called Giza Suite, and that's an arrangement of a traditional song from Ethiopia that is played with krar. That's a five-string harp kind of instrument from Ethiopia and Eritrea, and a voice and percussion, and so it's very minimal. And I was trying to like where the horn kind of like the crowd, so I tried to create something very percussive, very dense, for example, for them, sonically to create that vibe, and I think it came out really cool. So yeah,
Hmm. Wow. Can you say the name of the instrument again? I don't know that instrument.
yeah, it's called krar. It's K apostrophe RAR,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's a five or six sometimes string harp kind of instrument. And yeah, it's very cool. So it's obviously, so it's pentatonic based, and yeah,
Oh, is it kind of like the kora?
it's not so much like the kora. I think the kora is a little more say advanced, but it's more. There's more notes than the kora. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. But I love kora. Yeah, and like a lot of what I do is basically trying to make the guitar sound like a kora or a krar. That's
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna check that out, that instrument out on my own time. So you're talking about a musical, essentially like a line, a musical nugget, that an idea that you have, and then you're fleshing it out on your computer or maybe with other people. How does that musical idea grow into a song? If you have a specific example or just the thing that you're working on right now,
Mhm.
how does that grow into a full piece of music?
Well, for our band, for Anbessa Orchestra, I usually bring something that's kind of whole, almost whole. Like I have a pretty clear idea, and I would start, yeah, from like even a phrase, a musical sentence. I try to expand it, and then try to maybe find another part, or I find that when I sit down and actually do it, I do have a clear idea of how I want it to be, and then obviously in more allowing times, we would rehearse it, and then I'd hear how it sounds, and sometimes I work with Sibelius to write music. So obviously you hear it on the program and you hear it in your head, but sometimes when you hear it for real, it sounds a little different. So maybe I'm like, all right, actually, like for example, the last tune that we're working on, I wrote like a part for the Barry saxophone, but then I was like, actually, I think the trumpet would sound better on it, and then we changed it and it sounded better.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so I usually come out with a pretty clear idea, and then we rehearse it, and then we kind of do the subtleties. And if somebody maybe has a suggestion, sometimes I take it, and a lot of the times I don't. Like there's a joke in the band is like, oh yeah, everybody can suggest something that I'll refuse. It's just, yeah. So feel free to suggest something that I'll say no to. Yeah.
Well, hey, yeah, as the leader, that is what you're doing. I mean, every band is different. How I heard you say, before we started rolling officially, that the band is like a family and
Yeah.
that you would be like the dad of the family. So everybody has their say, but you're the main decision maker.
Pretty much. Yeah. 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 And I
Yeah,
think it's going well though with that. I I think you kind of have to also take it upon yourself. It's sometimes not the easiest thing, but like you're like, all right, I want this music to sound like a very specific way, so this is how it's gonna be. If I'm. But we're all cool, and we kind of learned how to navigate it, and it's a very so close group of people that I really love and admire. So
yeah. This is a topic I actually think about a lot. Collaboration and how do you think about collaborating with people in given different circumstances? What what role do other people like to play? But also what is the role that you feel most comfortable with? Do you um do you feel comfortable being in that leader position or do you prefer being a side person? Like what what collaboration style inspires you the most?
that's a good question. So I I like to have some definition. So if I'm like gonna come in and it's like, oh, you're the musical director, or if I'm leading the band, no problem. Boom. All right. If I do it, then I do it. There's no like, oh, maybe do this. It's like do this. And then if there's somebody else that like makes the decision, like I'm the musical director and there's like a producer or somebody. So I'm gonna tell you guys what to do. He's gonna tell me what to do. And then we'll work it all out.
Yeah.
And if I'm a side person, then I also like I appreciate when somebody kind of either it's like all open or you have like a clear idea of what you like. If it's in between, a lot of the times it could be like I know maybe this and maybe that. It's like yeah, there's a lot of possibilities for everything, but like how do you hear the music? You know. But I do like, I like working with many different people, and I'm also learning to in spaces where I'm not like, for example, just going to gigs. Like I have this anxiety of like, oh, everybody should be there on time, and you gotta make sure that everything's cool, and then I gotta remind myself, no, it's like I need to be there on time with my guitar, I know the music, and everything else is fine. This isn't my band right now, so I mean, not to be kind of like small-minded about it, but it's like, let me, I'm gonna do my thing perfectly as well as I can, and then everything else, the money, whatever, that's somebody else's job today. Just enjoy that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm hearing you talk about the pressures that come along with being the leader of a band.
Yeah, because it's not just the music part of it is always it's the fun part, and playing the gig, but it's the emails, it's the booking, it's the getting to the show, it's the dealing with the dude for the money and for the band food and where's the green room, and It's like, okay, guys, the Wi-Fi password is here, and what does everybody want for dinner? So,
Yeah, yeah, the
yeah,
entrepreneurial aspect of being your own band. I mean, being your own leader and negotiating what all of that is and everything that comes along with that.
right. So whenever I don't have to do that, I'm trying to learn how to enjoy that and just be like, all right, cool. Somebody's taking care of the other aspects, and you can, just focus on the music and having fun.
Yeah, how wonderful.
Yeah.
Because you are a phenomenal guitarist. So,
Oh,
I'm, yes.
thank you.
I am curious to know what you wish you would have known when you first started writing music.
Oh, well, on the technical side, I wish I would have known how to write a better chart. Because if you look at the
Hey,
way, right? I mean, it's really important. You write great charts, by the way.
oh,
Yeah.
ah, I
If
mean,
I can read them, then it's really clear. If it's easy for me to read it, yeah, because like I look at the charts that I used to write for Unbesa, and then now it's like way better. So I'm happy, and I'm like, oh, I see why they had such a hard time playing it. It looks terrible. It's like,
wow. Okay, so the technical aspect of writing the music out. I mean, I imagine, and I know from my personal experience, that the way you write something out definitely influences how people play it, how people perceive it. So that's one
right.
technical thing you wish you would have known. What else?
Um, I think I've learned a little bit more about ranges and stuff like that, and just like on the technical side, like the colors of each instrument. I'm still learning. I'm not, because also especially now, I don't get to do it as much, so you don't get that constant practice. But gotten a little better in it. And on the more like creative side, or spiritual side, or whatever, it's like I wish I would have known that whatever inspiration you have, it's good to go with it.
Hmm.
And actually, your workshop helped me with that. Recently, because I did your 30-day thing, even though I didn't do the whole 30 days when you were doing the songwriting thing.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah, and I felt like first off, doing something like being creative on a regular basis, it's kind of like a practice, or a kind of like a ritual or something. So there is a creative thing going, and it really stirs things up. And also just go with everything you have. Like you don't have to release it. You don't have to do anything with it, but just go with it. See it through maybe as much as you can, and just kind of explore what it can be. Because sometimes you just come up with some ditty or whatever, and you don't think much of it. But if you spend like half an hour, it comes to be something that's pretty cool or something. So
Yeah.
just work with your inspiration.
Oh, that's a comforting idea to be reminded of that if you spend enough time with something, even if you're not sure what it is in the beginning, that it will turn into something that, I mean, inevitably, if you keep spending time with something, whatever you water will grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes it takes me so long to write like one bar or two bars of music, and I'm like, no, it's like, and but then you kind of, there's like a section, it's like a certain point of that work where it's just like clicks, and then it opens up, and then you can write a little more, and
Yeah.
then maybe you did 8 bars after it, but still 8 bars of music is a lot.
Yeah. What what is one barrier that you've experienced being a band leader or even actually writing music? What's one barrier that you've experienced in your musical life?
Well, I think it's always or a lot of it, I think probably for a lot of people, a lot of artists, it's that kind of self, judgment being like kind of detrimental to you, and like kind of always being on your case and like, okay, this isn't good enough or whatever, or is this interesting? Is this, and just try to trust your own instinct and be like, okay, I have something to give. Like, it's not, you got to be somewhat secure of yourself, or knowing that you have something to offer, not in a vain way, but it's just like it's a factual way. It's like, yeah, this is what I do, and and I feel close to it, and I'm giving it from myself and from my feelings, and I have something to give. If people are interested or not, whatever, but I know it's there, you know.
Yeah.
So um, that would be the thing that I'm always struggling with, just the self kind of judgment and criticism. And
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. That is something that I personally experience, and I think that a lot of people can relate to that feeling, whether it's in music or beyond the world of music.
right.
Yeah. So, what do you do to get over that barrier? Or I don't, maybe get over isn't the right word, but to what do you do?
Well, usually I procrastinate till the point I have to put something out. Like most of the record that, like best of record, I wrote most of it about a week before. Like I knew about the session
Wow.
probably 2, 3 months before, and I had ideas. Like I had the ideas, but and I was like, writing a little bit. It's like, no, it's not good. Blah, blah, blah. There's like 4 days before the thing. Well, okay, we're gonna record this in a couple of days. There's gotta be something. It's like
Wow.
so.
That's that's incredible because the music is so beautiful. I mean, that's
Oh,
a
thank
testament
you.
to your musicality and your composing skills. If you all need to check out Ambessa Orchestra, you can find Nadav's music at ambessaorchestra.com. And where is there anywhere else that you'd like to point people to, Nadav?
Well, there's always Spotify, all of the streaming services. And you can follow us on Instagram, social media, and such. And also, if you really like the music and you feel like owning a vinyl or a T-shirt or a CD, we have a CD that we released a few more years back. You could find everything on Bandcamp.
Hmm.
Um,
So can you
so
find all of that information here at this website on bessaorchestra.com that kind of points you out to?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All except for the Bandcamp, maybe. So Bandcamp on Best Orchestra. That's where you can buy the merch. Yeah.
Yes. Please, please, please check out his music. It's beautiful, but not only beautiful, it makes you feel good and it will make you want to move. There's no way that you cannot feel joy listening to Unbound.
Oh, yes. I mean
That,
that is truly the like that's what I wanted, to get from this band. And whenever we play, I just want people to move and feel better, you know.
yeah, well, mission accomplished. That's how I feel when like I told you before we were here on this interview, I was just dancing around my house listening to your music yesterday.
All right.
Yep. Yep, yep, yep. And if you're watching, if you'd like some creative music rating tips and a library of interviews with composers and creators, you can go to creativemusicwriting.com. I have some free resources up there too that kickstart your creativity. And I see a few people here. If you have any questions for Nadav, please, please let us know. Um,
Mm.
so, Nadav, is there anything else that you would like to share with people who are watching?
Hmm. Let's see. Yeah. There's, so look out for the new Bessa tune coming out soon. Casey and I are going to have a session soon with Beth Goodfellow, who's an amazing drummer and musician. So look out for that. We're going to film it and record it.
Yeah.
Very looking forward to that. Casey's music is amazing. I love playing with you. Um, yeah, other than that, I hope, hope everybody's doing fine. I hope we're going to get good news this November. Yeah, let's see what's up with that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Whole that's
Yeah,
another 3-hour conversation. Um,
yeah, yeah.
I see Ruby here. She said, I'm enjoying listening to you both. It's great to hear your voice. You're both awesome. Oh, thank you, Ruby.
Thank you,
Being
Ruby.
here. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Nadav, thank you. Thanks for taking the time to talk about your creative process, how you think about music. It's so inspiring to hear a little bit more about, what's going on in your musical brain because it's
Oh,
a good one.
oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And I would always have a great time talking to you and appreciate you having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, I hope everyone who's watching have a wonderful day. And Nadav, thank you so much for joining me today.